From the Boston Tea Party to the Wall Street bombings, from Prohibition to the age of the outlaw gangster, gangs, gangsters, and the mob have evolved in purpose, perception, and profitability. We have seen mob mentality with both noble and ignoble intent. We have seen the gangster go from a Robin Hood-like folk hero to a reviled societal blight. And we have seen, through it all, organized crime figures and leaders become millionaires. While many mobsters wound up in jail or killed, still more sought ways to keep themselves in power, as well as in profit. Now that the romantic image of the gangster in movies and magazines had been replaced by the stark realities of the wanted poster in post offices across the country. While the National Crime Syndicate, or Commission, was a step in the right direction for those criminal organizations that wanted to operate on a countrywide or worldwide level, a harsher crackdown on gangland activities, as well as fighting among rival gangs, saw mob rulers seek to mask their illegal operations with as much legitimacy as possible, and to keep their dealings tightly guarded in secrecy. To achieve this, mafia leaders in the United States looked to their predecessors. What was ultimately decided upon was a return to the ways of the old country for gangs, gangsters, and the mob. Illegal gambling, political corruption, extortion, kidnapping, fraud, counterfeiting, infiltration of legitimate businesses, murders, bombings, and weapons trafficking are all part of the history of the Sicilian mob. Industry experts in Italy estimate that their worldwide criminal activity is worth more than 100 billion annually. This organization holds the largest influence over how the American mob is structured, run, and governed. These enterprises evolved over the course of 3,000 years during numerous periods of invasion and exploitation by conquering armies in Italy. Over the millennia, Sicilians became more clannish and began to rely on familial ties for safety, protection, justice, and survival. An underground secret society formed initially as resistance fighters against the invaders and to exact frontier vigilante justice against oppression. A member was known as a man of honor, respected and admired because he protected his family and friends and kept silent even unto death. Sicilians weren't concerned if the group profited from its actions because this came at the expense of the oppressive authorities. These secret societies eventually grew into the mafia. Since the 1900s, thousands of Italian organized crime figures, mostly Sicilian mafiosi, have come illegally to this country. Many who fled here in the early 1920s helped establish what is known today as La Cosa Nostra, or the American Mafia. The Sicilian Mafia formed in the mid-1800s to unify the Sicilian peasants against their enemies. In Sicily, the word mafia tends to mean manly. The Sicilian Mafia changed from a group of honorable Sicilian men to an organized criminal group in the 1920s. In the 1950s, Sicily enjoyed a massive building boom. Taking advantage of the opportunity, the Sicilian Mafia gained control of the building contracts and made millions of dollars. Today, the Sicilian Mafia has evolved into an international organized crime group. Some experts estimate it is the second largest organization in Italy. Charles Lucky Luciano, a mafioso from Sicily, came to the U.S. during this era and is credited for making the American La Cosa Nostra what it is today. Luciano structured the La Cosa Nostra after the Sicilian Mafia. When Luciano was deported back to Italy in 1946 for operating a prostitution ring, he became a liaison between the Sicilian Mafia and La Cosa Nostra, or the American Mafia. Literally translated into English as "this thing of ours," La Cosa Nostra is the natural progression of the national crime syndicate driven into the underground and back rooms of cities across the nation, but still wielding as much power and influence as the mob ever did. It is a nationwide alliance of criminals, linked by blood ties or through conspiracy, dedicated to pursuing crime and protecting its members. La Cosa Nostra consists of different families that are generally arranged geographically and engaged in significant and organized racketeering activities. It is also known as the Mafia, a term used to describe other organized crime groups. Giuseppe Esposito was the first known Sicilian Mafia member to emigrate to the U.S. He and 6 other Sicilians fled to New York after murdering the chancellor and the vice chancellor of a Sicilian province and 11 wealthy landowners. He was arrested in New Orleans in 1881 and extradited to Italy. New Orleans was also the site of the first major mafia incident in this country. On October 15th, 1890, New Orleans Police Superintendent David Hennessy was murdered, execution style. Hundreds of Sicilians were arrested, and 19 were eventually indicted for the murder. An acquittal generated rumors of widespread bribery and the intimidation of witnesses. Outraged citizens of New Orleans organized a lynch mob and killed 11 of the 19 defendants. 2 were hanged, 9 were shot, and the remaining 8 escaped. The American Mafia has evolved over the years as various gangs assumed and lost dominance. The Black Hand gangs around 1900, the 5 Points gang in the 1910s and 20s in New York City, Al Capone's syndicate in Chicago in the 1920s. But by the end of the 20s, 2 primary factions had emerged, leading to a war for control of organized crime in New York City.
Smash gambling, shouts New York's Mayor LaGuardia. So he smashes away at those cheating contraptions, the slot machines, leading an anti-gambling crusade with a hammer.
Let the gamblers, tin horns, racketeers, and gangsters take notice that they have to keep away from New York from now on.
In this pile of battered junk were 1,000 tricks for chiseling, jipping, swindling. They're going now to the place they belong, the garbage dump out at sea. They'll never chisel, jip, or swindle again unless some gangster fish rigs them up for the sucker fish. The mayor with a punch can also pitch. And down go the slot machines to the bottom of the sea.
Thanks for watching. If you'd like to help us produce more compelling historical content like this, please like, comment below, and share this video with fellow history buffs. And of course, be sure to subscribe to help keep history happening.